Day. My name is Jeannie, and I'm excited to be sharing with you. I've been clairvoyant since I was a child, and due to circumstances, I often turn things off in an effort to fit in. I've always had a connection with crystals, even before I was aware of what I was doing. I've endured a lot of trauma in my life, and through a lot of growth and courses, I created my business, Penelope's Magic Touch, in 2016 to allow me to fully embrace my gifts and follow my life purpose. I've done a lot of personal work over the years, and I love to learn about new things that interest me. I've created 3 levels of crystal healing, and I completed my Reiki Master Teacher training in June of 2017. My passion lies with the Reiki and the crystals and using them together to help people. What is Reiki, you ask? Reiki is a universal life force energy that helps bring balance and relaxation through the use of hands-on or distance sessions. If there are energy blockages, Reiki can help remove the blockages and reestablish the flow of energy. When we don't deal with things emotionally, they can manifest themselves physically in our bodies, resulting in pain in certain areas. Reiki can help take this pain away, but if you don't deal with the underlying issue that caused the pain in the first place, it can come back. Crystals are powerful healing tools and work with your body as well. They help bring your body into alignment with the frequency of the crystals so that they can help you heal. There's lots of common crystals that everyone knows about. Some of them are rose quartz. Rose quartz is very good for love, unconditional love, and self-love. There's lots of protective crystals like tourmaline, obsidian, onyx. There's a crystal for everything, basically. Every crystal has so many different opportunities, and they do so many different things that it's hard to just pinpoint one thing that helps a crystal with. Everybody resonates with something different. So if you're looking for a crystal for something, I suggest that you let the crystals talk to you and help you decide what you need. To use the crystals and the Reiki together and specialize in release work. So what that means is I help people release things that they're willing to let go of so that they can help move on in their life. Basically cut the ties with those things that have been holding them back, so they're not limited anymore. I like to say, don't let your past dictate your future. You're only limited by your imagination. How big can you dream? And what would you like to welcome into your experience? And a little bit about me, just so you know where I'm coming from. For the longest time, I was a hoarder. I didn't realize that my hoarding tendencies were related to trust and abandonment issues. Lack of self-love and worthiness contributed to that as well. I had a major aha moment in 2016 when I was once again, after the end of another toxic relationship, alone. I began to look at things around me and wonder why I bought them. Did they truly bring me happiness, or was it in some effort to fit in? After a lot of time alone, I dug down deep to discover my why. I realized that my stuff made me feel secure. It wasn't going to leave me. It was always there for me. And it just gave me that security that I didn't have before in my life. So once I made peace with that, then I was able to start letting go of things. And those first things that I let go of and released, it was really hard. It scared the crap out of me. But sometimes you just have to push through and do it anyways. Do it scared. If you're not ready, though, you may resort to those same patterns and cycles. I was ready, so I pushed through the fear, and I was able to let go of those things and make changes in my life. And once I started letting go of those things, it started to be freeing. And instead of being scary to get rid of things that were holding space in my life that I didn't need to have there anymore, I had this sudden freedom, and it was empowering and just a very different feeling. The stuff had made me feel safe. In November 2019, I had an even deeper aha moment as I went digging deeper and realized that I had trust and abandonment issues that went back to the womb. This was way deeper than I had ever imagined diving or digging, but it explained so much. So many of my questions were answered, and so many things suddenly made sense. I took a deep dive into mother issues, a rather taboo subject on most, but I didn't even realize that I had them until that time. More recently, I've discovered that I also have some father issues regarding abandonment. I never officially met my biological father. Don't blame him for anything. There is just something missing, that connection that we haven't had yet. I'm not even really sure what it looks like or what it feels like, or if he's even interested in meeting me after all of these years. I just have this deep feeling to connect with him. The last thing I want to do is disrupt anyone's life or make changes that they're not ready for, but I just feel that deep down, I'm looking for this connection so that I can help us both heal. I'm not really sure what I'm looking for, but I guess I'll know when I find it. Really, I've had a pretty good life, and I'm not complaining about anything by any means. I grew up with a mom and dad, 2 sisters, grandparents I saw almost daily, cousins to play with. We lived in a nice house. We always had food to eat, clothes to wear. And just before I turned 30, the information was shared with me about my biological father. My world came crashing down. I loved my dad. He was always there for me, and I never ever thought that he wasn't my biological father until that day in August 1999. As a kid, I remember being told that I was adopted because I was born before my mom and dad got married. They got married just before I turned 1. I never thought any more about it, and everyone was very good at keeping secrets. It took me some time to process things, and when I did, I decided to share this new information with my husband at the time, who showed absolutely no compassion. He had known on our wedding day back in 1990. He'd already had 9 years to process and had kept it hidden from me. Sharing with my sisters was one of those, like those TV stories we used to watch that were so surreal. You can't make this up. It was just, I was flabbergasted. And the more that I looked, the deeper the lies went. I found out basically the whole town and surrounding community knew more about me and my life than I did. And you want to talk about trust issues? There's quite a few of them. Trust is not something that comes easy to me. I guess they all thought they were protecting me, but it felt like it was more of a control. I've always had a strong need to be independent, to rely on myself and no one else. There have been too many times when other people have let me down. This is something I'm working on, and allowing others to help me and be willing to allow them to support me in ways that I haven't previously allowed, in ways that I've previously only depended on myself. Through the use of Reiki and crystals, I've been able to process my trauma and release it so that it no longer controls my life. There were so many patterns that kept repeating themselves. I didn't know why things were happening, but once I recognized the patterns, I was able to break the cycles and forge new paths. Tourmaline has been my go-to crystal for quite a while. And this is my little tourmaline that I kept on me for almost a couple years, every day. And then one day my body just recognized that frequency, and I didn't need to actually have the stone on me to have the feeling of having the stone on me. But since this COVID-19 has presented itself in our lives with all of the upset and upheaval in the world, I've gone back to keeping my tourmaline on me daily. It really makes a difference to me and protecting me from other people's energies. It's one that it transmutes negativity. So if you're around negative people, it will just take that negative stuff and turn it into something lighter. So you're not really dealing with other people's stuff on such a heavy level. In that respect, I would like to take this time to have you ask yourself a few questions. Is there something holding you back in your life? And do you know what it is that's holding you back? Do you ever notice patterns that are repeating themselves? Patterns and cycles in your life. We all have trauma in our lives, and it affects us all differently. Do you have trauma in your life that you are allowing to control your life and have control over your life? And then I like the what if perspective, because it can really shift things on its own. If you're able to look at things from a different perspective, we all have several aha moments in our life. If you could change one thing in your life, what would it be? Have you ever thought that all of the things that have happened to you in your life have happened to you because you've allowed them to happen? If you can get out of the poor me situation and accept that things have happened to you because you've allowed them to happen. You are in control of your life and how you accept things and allow things that occur in your experience. I know me personally, once I was able to look at that and say, okay, I had all these toxic relationships in a row. Why did I allow that? Basically, if you can look at bad things in your life and say, why did I let that happen to me? Instead of why did that happen to me? It can really flip that switch and give you that different perspective. And it can change so much. And once you're aware of it, then you can change it. And if you can accept that you've allowed things to happen, the next step is asking why you allowed them to happen. What beliefs are you allowing to remain stuck in allowing you to be stuck in certain cycles? Sometimes there's that lack of self-love, that worthiness. I don't deserve to have this good thing happen to me, so I'm just going to have these bad things happen to me. I know I personally am still a work in progress, but I am so much further along than I used to be. I have released so much trauma and gotten rid of things that were controlling me and limiting me. And I'm not by any means done, but there are so many more opportunities, because once we get rid of stuff, then we have room to allow new stuff in. But if we're not willing to get rid of the stuff, then we have no room for the new stuff. Patterns and cycles, they keep repeating themselves until we choose to break them and make different choices. Some of these choices can include abuse, poverty, bad choices, but basically anything in your life, if you can look at it and say, okay, I'm doing this again. What am I doing? Why am I allowing this to happen? There is so much that you can change. because you have the power. So I would like to ask you, what is your biggest challenge in life? And what is the one thing that would make a difference in your life right now? Is there anything that would, if you had more self-empowerment, more freedom, more money, if you could make something different, what would you change? And when you're thinking about changing that, how does it feel to have that? What does it look like, taste like, smell like, sound like? Because in order to have it, you need to be able to imagine that you have it. And are you willing to take steps to achieve this? Are you willing to release pain and suffering, to allow things like love, compassion, self-worth, peace, and bliss into your life? Most of us know how to handle things when they go bad, but we're not always sure how to deal with them when they go good. Are you more afraid of failure, or are you more afraid of success? We all have some sort of trauma in our lives. That's a pretty basic fact. Do you know what your main source of trauma is? Things like neglect, abuse, breach of trust, abandonment, loss of a loved one. There can be death, divorce, poverty, bullying. The list goes on. There's healthy and unhealthy ways, basically coping mechanisms for dealing with your trauma. Do you escape or numb your trauma, or do you face it and release it? Some people shop, some people do drugs, some people drink, some people self-harm, some people stay in abusive relationships, both mentally and physically. That's their coping mechanism for dealing with the trauma. Those are the unhealthy ones. Some of the healthy ones are Reiki, meditation, cord cutting. So you can actually face the trauma, deal with the trauma, and then release the trauma so it no longer has a control over your life. Are you willing to accept and allow that you are in control of your life? You are the creator of your existence, and you have the power to control what you allow into your existence. We can create whatever we want. What would you like to create? What does your perfect life look like? What are you willing to do to create your perfect life? Are you willing to let go of the things that are holding you back? Those old comfortable things, to make room and allow new things to come in? What will it take for you to believe that you are worthy of the beautiful life you desire? You are lovable and deserving of every wonderful thing in your life. You need to know that. You need to believe that, because you are so worthy. Are you ready to take those first baby steps towards your changed life? It's like not making a choice is still making a choice. You have the power. You need to decide what you want. And what are you most afraid of? A failure or success? Do you know what success looks like and feels like to you? Are you willing to embrace that success, to feel it, to allow it? Because you do deserve it. You are worthy. Are you ready to discover your why? So basically digging down those deeper layers and discovering why you do the things you do. You may not even realize them But when you take a step outside of the situation and look at it as an observer instead of a participant, it gives you that different perspective, and you're able to dig deeper into that why, and then take steps towards creating the amazing life you deserve. And what I do is I do crystal chakra balancing sessions with Reiki. And that allows you to let go of things. You don't even need to know what it is you're letting go of. We use the crystals and the pendulum, and we go chakra by chakra and release things that are holding you back. And then once you've released them, we fill each chakra with love and light to balance them. Then we use Reiki, and we can do cord cutting. There is so many different options, but it's a step and a tool that I have in my toolbox that we can use for you if you are open to it and would like to learn more. I also create jewelry intuitively. So I put pieces together intuitively. I will think of a feeling or a person that's got a certain issue going on, and I will intuitively create something specifically for that person and that feeling that they need. If they've got anxiety that they're dealing with and they just need that extra sense of calm, I've used a lot of Amazonite for the calm and peaceful. It's another one that filters things out so that there isn't a lot of negativity coming at you, the cell phone emissions, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I do create these mommy and me sets, daddy and me sets for kids that have anxiety. It allows the parent and the child to still be connected while they are even apart. It's just another tool. Reiki can either be done in person or it can be done distantly. If I do it over distance, I usually like to connect with the person either over Zoom or over Messenger, phone call, some kind of a connection to establish that connection and just have that stronger bond so that we can work on whatever issues you would like to work on. And for the month of April, I am doing complimentary discovery sessions, so 15-minute sessions over Zoom to kind of discuss whatever issues you've got going on, if there's something you'd like to work on, or if you just want to know more about me, and if I'm a good fit for you, if you feel comfortable with me, we can go from there. And if there's something that you need help with and I'm not the person for you, I do know a lot of other people. I did bring some other crystals to share. So this is my citrine that I work with, and he has very strong, powerful male energy. And he is about self-empowerment, self-esteem, and just kind of helps you get your stuff done. I kind of scheduled it to be about crystals and the Reiki, but it ended up being more about the trauma and releasing the trauma because that's what I was guided to do. Thanks a lot for joining me, and I hope you found this useful.